Sale. See your Toyota dealer for a great Tacoma deal.
Count Sleep with Sealy Posturepedic Bedding on sale now at Wayside.
On World News Tonight this Friday, the crisis in the White House. ABC News has new details about what Monica Lewinsky says went on. And the president's defenders say he is the victim of an independent prosecutor out to get him, and the media rushing to judgment. We'll take a closer look.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, Friday, January 23rd. This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. The White House crisis pretty much dominates the news again tonight. The president's crisis team has spent the day trying to figure out the best way for him to defend himself against charges of illicit sex and cover-up. Throughout the country, people are sad or angry, frustrated, fed up. There's enormous pressure on Mr. Clinton to explain himself. Today, someone with specific knowledge of what it is that Monica Lewinsky says really took place between her and the president has been talking to ABC's Jackie Judd.
The source says Monica Lewinsky claims she would visit the White House for sex with Mr. Clinton in the early evening or early mornings on the weekends, when certain aides who would find her presence disturbing were not at the office. According to the source, Lewinsky says she saved, apparently as a kind of souvenir, a navy blue dress with the president's semen stain on it. If true, this could provide physical evidence of what really happened. And what was Lewinsky told to say about the affair after receiving a subpoena from lawyers for Paula Jones? Our source says Lewinsky claimed that while President Clinton and Vernon Jordan never used the word lie, they did say to deny the affair, because there would never be any proof if both parties denied it. When Lewinsky asked what happens if there is evidence of an affair, she allegedly was told to just say it's not you. ABC News has obtained documents which confirm that Lewinsky made efforts to stay in contact with the president after she left the White House. These are bills from a courier service, which Lewinsky used at least 7 times between October the 7th and December the 8th for deliveries from her Pentagon office to the White House. The packages were sent to the Southwest Gate with a contact number for Betty Curry, the president's personal secretary. One source tells ABC News the packages contained love letters. Another package sent to Vernon Jordan's law firm, we are told, contained a list of jobs that Lewinsky would be interested in. Jordan yesterday admitted he tried to help her find work. Lewinsky, we are told, remains here inside her Washington apartment. Her attorney, William Ginsburg, today accused investigators from independent counsel Ken Starr's office of putting the squeeze on Lewinsky to win her cooperation.
After he had the wire material, he lured Miss Lewinsky to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Pentagon City, and with the help of 4 or 5 FBI agents and 3 or 4 U.S. attorneys, managed to detain her, although she was technically free to go, for 8 or 9 hours without an attorney.
Starr's office denies any wrongdoing, but more importantly, both sides now seem ready to move on. We've learned, Peter, that tomorrow Starr and Ginsburg will meet about cutting a deal and getting Monica Lewinsky to cooperate in this criminal investigation.
Thanks very much, Jackie Judd, in Washington tonight. While the lawyers and certainly reporters have been focused on the allegations of illicit sex and allegations that Monica Lewinsky was encouraged to lie on the president's behalf, and these are still allegations we are dealing with, the president's staff has been trying to wrench the country's attention back to his political agenda. Sam Donaldson is at the White House tonight. Sam, it hasn't been easy for him, right?
Not at all, Peter. The president and his political advisors have been trying to devise a strategy to get out front on this story before it completely overshadows his State of the Union address next Tuesday. But his legal advisors have urged him to wait. And tonight, it appears they have won the argument. Mr. Clinton held a previously scheduled cabinet meeting to review the year ahead, then sent 4 cabinet members out to report that he told them
the allegations are untrue, that we should stay focused on our jobs, and that he will be fine.
But reporters wanted to know how the focus can be on work, with this story hanging in the air.
And I think the American public would be appalled if they thought that we weren't doing our jobs, do we?
Some portion of the
don't you
American
agree
public
that
seems
the-
to be appalled by the accusations that the president may have been involved with a young woman.
I think the American people would be appalled if we weren't doing our jobs.
The debate over what would appall people the most soon ended after the cabinet members were pressed to individually state whether they believe the president.
Yes.
I believe that the allegations are completely untrue.
I'll second that.
And it was left to presidential spokesman Mike McCurry to bring things back to reality.
I think the American people are trying to wonder out, what's going on here. They want to know what the president has to say on it. I think the president wants to tell them. I think at the proper time he will.
For a while today, a plan was being considered for the president to sit down with a reporter or a small group of reporters before next Tuesday. But the president's lawyers argued vehemently that it was dangerous for the president to speak up before the facts were checked and assembled. And if he had said something that subsequently would have been proved to be untrue, that would have been worse. We're told tonight the lawyers have won. There will be no major presidential statement on this subject before next Tuesday.
Sam, I know the president's been working the phones, talking to supporters around the country. What on earth is he telling them?
Well, we're told that the president has called key supporters to say, look, I've got a good story. You're going to hear it. Don't worry, I'm going to be fine. I'm also told by people not in the White House, may I emphasize, that part of the strategy is going to be not only to attack this young woman's veracity, but to attack her character.
Okay, Sam, thanks very much. Sam Donaldson at the White House tonight. The president and Monica Lewinsky, the young woman, are getting all the attention, of course, but there are others. What about Mrs. Clinton? Hillary Clinton once again finds herself in a situation where her husband's fidelity is being questioned in front of the entire world, and once again, it looks like she will be his champion. ABC's Linda Douglas is standing by in Washington. Linda.
Well, sources close to the First Lady tell ABC News that Mrs. Clinton is handling these latest allegations with steely resolve. One described her as being in full battle regalia, determined to beat back the crisis by fiercely defending her husband.
It is my pleasure and honor to introduce the First Lady of the United States.
Only hours after this latest scandal erupted, the Clintons were out putting up a united front. But for Mrs. Clinton, it may have been like a scene from a recurring nightmare in which she is forced to fight charges that her husband is a womanizer, as she has done before.
Our marriage is a strong marriage. We love each other. We support each other.
When the Monica Lewinsky charges surfaced, Mrs. Clinton lashed out in a radio interview.
It is difficult and painful anytime someone you care about, you love, you admire, is attacked.
ABC News has learned that Mrs. Clinton is consulting and calling a close circle of friends and advisors, trying to develop a strategy. Now, there was some talk about her taking some kind of bold move, perhaps making a public statement, but no final decisions have been made. Peter?
Well, Linda, there's opportunity, isn't there? Because wasn't she scheduled to go out next week and talk about child care?
That's exactly right. She was going to be the White House front person on child care. Friends speculate that she'll still do that, and one told me she is determined not to be pitied.
Okay, thanks very much. Linda Douglas in Washington tonight. So what about one of the men who is driving this investigation? Is it a truth-seeking mission or a witch hunt? We'll take a closer look at Kenneth Starr when we come back.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Cotton Incorporated.
Here, do something. So you guys are having spaghetti for dinner?
Life moves pretty fast. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, stop. Look around. This is the good stuff.
The look, the feel of cotton, the fabric of our lives.
This is cotton.
You can feel it start to burn. All you can think about is getting rid of it quickly. Finally, I asked my doctor. He said my Lanta was made to work fast where heartburn hurts most, all through here. My doctor said my Lanta.
Now there's important news about relieving the aches and fever from the flu. In new guidelines, what pain reliever do flu experts prefer the most? The one you've trusted all along. The medicine in extra strength Tylenol. Tylenol, the first choice for flu relief.
Tonight we're going to take a closer look at a couple of the accusations which some of the president's most ardent supporters have made. They say that Mr. Clinton is being victimized by the independent counsel, Kenneth Starr, who is a Republican out to get him, they say. They also say the media is leading the public to judge him guilty without waiting for the facts to come in. First, Mr. Starr. How does he get from investigating a Whitewater land deal to allegations of sex and cover-up? Here's ABC's Tim O'Brien.
Kenneth Starr's investigation began 3.5 years and $30 million ago. Then the case was limited to a complicated land deal known as Whitewater. But with court approval, it has been expanded repeatedly to Webb Hubbell, then #2 at the Justice Department, who Starr convicted of bilking clients while a lawyer years earlier in Arkansas, to improprieties at the White House Travel Office, misuse of FBI files, Vince Foster's suicide, and now to suggestions of obstruction of justice in the Lewinsky case. Some critics say it has gotten out of control.
What began as a confined, focused investigation has suddenly become something like a Walmart of independent counsel investigations, where every possible item can be purchased.
Lawrence Walsh was the independent counsel in the Iran-Contra matter. He says Starr's investigation may be legal, but that it's inappropriate for him to interfere in Paula Jones' pending civil suit in which Monica Lewinsky is a witness.
It's very unfair to have Mr. Starr making, taking steps based upon his view of what's right and what's wrong and what's truthful and what isn't.
And some say it was unfair from the start to have Starr, a lifelong Republican, to be the independent counsel. Ronald Reagan appointed him a federal appeals court judge. President Bush named him Solicitor General, his administration's top courtroom advocate. Still, supporters say it would be unreasonable to name a new independent counsel every time some new allegation of wrongdoing arises.
You can't create a brand new independent counsel office. That takes time to find someone, it takes time to staff it up. Starr was already in existence, and he was already investigating similar charges.
If people don't understand how the Whitewater investigation in Little Rock has stretched to a sex and perjury scandal in Washington, Starr himself has done little to help.
I can't comment on the specifics with respect to a specific jurisdictional grant.
In one sense, he doesn't have to comment. The Attorney General and a special 3-judge federal court that oversees the investigation have signed off on Starr's looking into this new chapter in Whitewater. But appearances still count, and at least to some, there is the appearance of a partisan showdown between a Republican prosecutor and a Democratic president, with the careers of both men riding on the outcome. Tim O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
There's one more thing about the Starr investigation which rankles his critics. They recall that just before Mr. Starr was appointed, he said publicly that he was considering a legal brief on behalf of Paula Jones, opposing the president's claim of immunity from her sexual harassment suit. He didn't file it because he became the independent counsel, but let's put it to our legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin. Jeff, does this not raise the possibility there's a lingering issue there for Mr. Starr?
Peter, I think there may be a political problem, but not, I think, a legal problem. He is investigating this case at the request of Janet Reno and with court approval. He's not taking sides in the Paula Jones case. He's investigating obstruction of justice, which it seems to me he has every right to do.
And so he has the possibility to go on expanding this investigation if he so chooses?
As long as the court which supervises his activities gives him approval, he's free to go.
And these blanket subpoenas that he sent to everybody, normal procedure?
Absolutely normal procedure. If you're going to do an investigation, you got to do it right, and it's a big job.
Okay, Jeffrey Toobin, thanks very much. Legal analyst Jeff Toobin. In a moment, we'll get to that question of the press.
Honey, you're so young. I could never keep up with you.
But Mom says that's why you can that.
Ensure is the #1 doctor-recommended supplement. It helps you stay healthy, active, energetic. As a snack or occasional meal, it's a source of complete, balanced nutrition.
I'm sure you'll marry someone even more fun than me.
Will you at least come to the wedding?
Sure. I'll be there.
Ensure, the #1 doctor-recommended supplement. Drink to your health.
One slice, Tony.
You got it.
Oh.
2 extra large pepper, mushrooms, 2 for me.
Bayer relieves the inflammation that can cause arthritis, pain, and stiffness. Tylenol can't. And taken regularly, only Bayer can help save your life by reducing the risk of a second heart attack. Ask your doctor. Bayer, powerful pain relief, and so much more. Also try extra strength Bayer PM, the only nighttime aspirin.
There's a somebody
In the last year, did you get married? Get unmarried? Change jobs? Change diapers?
lease a car, sell a house, start a business, end a career. Every time your life changes, so do your taxes. Shouldn't you have someone who can help you pay less or get back more? H&R Block.
Someone to watch over me.
Got a cup? Get your coffee made. So many choices. It's your cup, it's your call. So rich, so creamy. It takes your coffee from ordinary to extraordinary. Your cup, your coffee made.
Introducing British Classics, a marriage of Victorian elegance and Caribbean soul. British Classics from Ethan Allen. The winter sale is on now.
As for the media, this is a whole program by itself, we realize, but we know from just answering the phone around here that the amount of attention we are giving this story is at the very least debatable. Good evening. We begin tonight with the White House crisis. We in the news, as you can see, are devoting major time and resources to these events, but have we been carried away? Are we doing too much, and are we not being fair?
The modern media machinery has the ability to turn any story into one of OJ-like proportions. Are the media going too far? It's hard to argue at this point that they are because of the political gravity of the story.
We put that fairness question on our internet site today. It's not a scientifically done poll, but 57% of those who responded believe that at this point, we in the media are not being unfair. Frankly, we were surprised.
It's a serious question.
But has the coverage unduly influenced public opinion before all the facts are in? This certainly concerns the White House. Our survey found that 62% of those who had an opinion said that based on the coverage so far, they believe the president has done something illegal. But as we said, those are unscientific polls, so let's get out in the country and ask some questions. Here's ABC's Tom Foreman.
At the National Western Stock Show in Denver, it is hard to find anyone who does not know about this latest presidential scandal, and easy to find opinions from those who have never trusted this president.
Oh, I can't believe he's still in office after all the things he's pulled and that people still have any faith in Clinton.
From those who once did trust him.
I have seen him as someone that represents my particular generation, and I'm real disappointed.
And from those who still do.
Really, I don't think it's anybody's business what he does. I mean, as long as he isn't costing taxpayers money.
But as news of this scandal has spread, many voters are questioning just how big this story really is. In Chicago, some are saying the media have already taken it way too far.
To talk about impeaching somebody over this, when it's nothing at this point other than, word of mouth, it just seems silly to me.
In Sacramento, some point out almost nothing has been proven.
Like, when you're in court, they say you're not guilty until you're proven guilty. Am I right or wrong?
Yet the media beat goes on.
I think the media is bored, and this is just something for them to play with. I think Clinton, he will be redeemed.
The media do have their defenders. In this Atlanta diner, some say whenever the basic integrity of a president is questioned, of course it should be widely reported.
Nationally and internationally, and from a perspective of how we're viewed throughout the world, I think it's critical.
However, it seems clear that this story is still a much bigger crisis in Washington and media circles than it is out here. Then again, this story has just begun. Tom Foreman, ABC News, Denver.
Thank you, Tom. So we now know for a fact that not everyone is reassured by the media at a moment like this. Joining us this evening is Tom Rosenstiel, the director of an organization called the Project for Excellence in Journalism. How do you think the media is doing, Tom?
Well, I think the question here is not how much coverage, but the character of the coverage. So much of what we've seen in the last 3 days is speculation, rumor, innuendo. There's such a pressure on the press to add something new, and there aren't that many new facts. And that's our problem. The press's first obligation is to the facts, and we've gotten ahead of them.
Let me say for the case of exercise that I think the press has been pretty good on saying repeatedly these are allegations, allegations, allegations. Would you have us ignore them?
No, not ignore the allegations at all, but we've had reporters go on and characterize secondhand what is on the tapes. We've had reporters talk about their impression of the mental state after of Monica Lewinsky after listening to a few minutes of the tapes. We've had reporters go on and say that the president has 48 hours to address the American people, or he won't be able to put the scandal behind him.
Okay, Tom Rosensteel, thanks very much. Critical of the press, part of his job. There's also some other news in the world. We'll be back in just a moment.
Do you like legs? Good, because right now at Red Lobster, a pound of hot, steaming snow crab legs is just $9.99. Hot legs for a very hot price. So walk, run, or crawl to Red Lobster.
I love you, honey.
Neutrogena T-Gel Shampoo, recommended #1 by dermatologists. It works. Works on all 3 major itchy, flaky scalp conditions. The leading dandruff shampoo doesn't. Neutrogena T-Gel Shampoo. It works.
Relief can't come fast enough when you have diarrhea.
We have a delay.
Our guy needs Imodium AD.
You need something faster.
Introducing Imodium Advanced for faster, more complete relief. New Imodium Advanced. Faster relief you can count on.
The first monuments built for the pharaohs were impressive, but unpredictable. Eventually, they designed a wider base for better balance, proving that wider is better.
The writing's on the wall with the Wide-Track Grand Prix Sports Sedan. Its unique Wide-Track design sets the wheels wider for better balance and monumental control.
The inscriptions still read, Ne feu ce qu'un quête ne bête.
The Wide-Track Grand Prix, driving excitement by Pontiac. Wider is better.
Teddy Gibbs can't let a sore throat stop him, even when it feels this raw. He toughs it out through the hacking cough, the aches, the fever. But when the job is done, he's desperate for relief. Fast, powerful Theraflu relief. With the first sip of that soothing, lemony hot liquid, he feels comfort instantly. Soon, his throat feels calmed, his cough quieted, his chills warmed. Maximum strength Theraflu, instant comfort, powerful relief.
In the other news, Iraq. From the United States point of view, there's no good news to report. Today, the chief UN inspector, Richard Butler, told the UN Security Council that Iraq is no longer willing to cooperate with his weapons inspectors. The Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, said the United States would start consulting its allies about using military force, even though most of them are reluctant. In Virginia today, the man who murdered 2 CIA workers outside the agency's headquarters 5 years ago was sentenced to death. Mir Amal-Kazi has said that he intended to assassinate the CIA director, but he settled on commuters instead. In Washington today, a court decision has revealed an aspect of American immigration policy that is going to make a lot of people in this land of immigrants angry. Some American consulates use immigration guidelines that are discriminatory, to say the least. ABC's Barry Serafin focuses on a U.S. consulate in Brazil.
It was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, that the State Department guidelines were first brought to light. Robert Olson, a visa officer there, was fired when he challenged those policies.
It defended my principles. It was wrong.
The guidelines for reviewing applications included abbreviations: RK, rich kid; LP, looks poor; TP, talks poor; LR, looks rough; TC, take care. One young visa applicant was rejected with the notation, slimy looking, wears jacket on shoulders with earring. Special scrutiny was to be given to those of Arab, Chinese, or Korean descent, and others.
Persons with black skin or dark skin or curly hair or who didn't smile for their photograph were thought to be untrustworthy, and they were to be denied visas also in most instances.
The State Department denies rejecting visas on the basis of race, but acknowledges it does use guidelines like those in Sao Paulo and says it will continue to use them. Barry Serafin, ABC News, Washington.
And in Cuba today, the Pope had some very harsh words for the United States. At a mass in the central part of the island, he said that the 35-year-old American embargo of Cuba is deplorable. The Pope was cheered by a large crowd in Camagüey when he called for more freedom in Cuba. And there was great applause when he told the crowd, you can build your own future and be agents of your own history. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm starving.
Come in. Here you go. Something to eat.
Did you make this with vegetable oil?
Well, yes.
Thanks, but I gotta watch what I eat.
Eat healthier with Mazola 100% pure canola oil. It has half the saturated fat of vegetable oil and lets the great taste of your food come through. It's what you're looking for.
I'm lost and I'm starving.
Mazola canola, because your health really matters.
Okay, we've got chocolate chip with walnut, chocolate chunk, white chocolate chunk.
Pillsbury's got chocolatey cookies for everyone. Hot and fresh in 15 minutes.
Of course, chocolate chip.
What was that first one again?
I'm on an all-night flight when suddenly, terrible heartburn. The guy in the next seat says, here, try this. Zantac 75. Thanks, I say. You know, maybe I ought to see a doctor about this heartburn. He says, you just did.
The medicine in Zantac 75 is the #1 doctor-prescribed acid reducer. It relieves even your toughest heartburn, controlling acid for up to 12 hours.
Thanks, doctor. Wherever you are.
Zantac 75, the final word in heartburn relief.
Nobody does it like you.
To deep clean your carpet and upholstery, you can get a Hoover Steam Vac Ultra and pay once. Or pay these guys
Nobody
every time.
does it like you.
There are cars that are built to appeal to your passionate side and your practical side. Chrysler Cirrus LXi. For the passionate, it has many standard luxury features that cost extra on Toyota Camry, like ABS, Air V6, leather-trimmed interior with an 8-way power driver's seat. And compared to Camry LE V6, Chrysler Cirrus is over $6,000 less. That's for your practical side. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
On 2020 Friday, from the people who first brought you the news that shook the nation and the president, the latest on the crisis in the White House. Plus, the charge, murdering his girlfriend. The court said he was mentally incompetent and let him go. Guess where we found him? In college and getting great grades. 2020 Friday, tonight.
Just before we leave you, a brief review of the major developments in the White House crisis. A source has told ABC's Jackie Judd more details about the alleged affair between Monica Lewinsky and the president. Ms. Lewinsky claims that she visited the White House to have sex with the president at strategic times when she would not be seen by aides who might be disturbed by her presence. We have also been told that Ms. Lewinsky may have a dress that somehow connects her to the president. That is our report on World News Tonight. Later this evening, 2020 and Nightline will have the latest on the crisis in the White House. And tomorrow night at 10/9 Central Time, I hope you will join us for the premiere of a new program, ABC News Saturday Night. On Vote program as well, we will have all the latest developments in the White House crisis. So I'm Peter Jennings. We hope you have a good Super Bowl weekend. Good night.
Stay with ABC News for the latest on the crisis in the White House as the big story continues to unfold. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, Monday.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
You don't want to mess up your life any more than I want to mess up mine.
Theirs was an affair to remember.
If one of us doesn't show,
I'll be there. And if you're not there,
I'll be there.
Warren Beatty, Annette Bening, the network television premiere, Love Affair, ABC Sunday.
Good evening, I'm Brian Burnell. Coming up tonight at 11, we'll have the latest on the scandal surrounding President Clinton and a former White House intern. Also, love isn't equal when it comes to Valentine's. We'll explain tonight after 2020.
So Jimmy and I'll pick you up. No, I don't always drive. I just drive to Kinder Jim. And I drive to Tiny Tadpoles and Paint Puppies and Happy Campers, Rodeo Rascals, Snow Bunnies, Junior Jesters, Hook and Laddies, Baby Beethoven.
When you drive a Ford Escort, you'll drive any chance you get. And no wonder when you can get the safety and comfort of an Escort with $1,000 cash back or 1.9 financing.
And I drive to Kitty Karaoke, but that's it. Oh, we're late for Goo Goo Golf.
I drive. See your New England Ford dealer today.
I'll drive.
This Saturday, it's the one-day sale at Filene's. Shop special hours 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Early bird specials 8 a.m. to noon. Don't miss the Filene's one-day sale. Saturday only at Filene's.
As Good as It Gets is the winner of 3 Golden Globe Awards. Wow. Best Actor, Jack Nicholson. Best Actress, Helen Hunt. And Best Picture of the Year. As Good as It Gets, rated PG-13. Now playing.
Check out News Channel 8 online at WTNH.com.